Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name's Uncle Reddit, and this is r/Tales from Tech Support. And like one of my viewers pointed out the other day, even if you're not new around here, I'm still Uncle Reddit. So you guessed it, we're still in Florida. Got every blackout curtain I could find blocking off the windows in here except for this one. I needed at least a little bit of light that wasn't the 12 volt lighting above my head. And yeah, so far so good. Why? You don't want anything to do with me all day. Now you want to be here. Right? Hi. That's good girl. There you go. Settle down. Yeah. Jeez. Psycho. My mom's psychotic cat. She's deciding that right now is the time to be here on this small RV table with all of my equipment set up. Gotta love them. Alright, let's get to the stories before this cat disconnects something. That's just a bit outside the max length. I worked for a copier company for a few years. Digital imaging field engineer, if you will. One of our salesmen took a new massive Konica out to a remote site. They wanted to use scan to shared folder, so I had to tag along as the IT guy to set things up. This was the early 2000s, so think XP. We get there and the new machine, which has USB and an NIC, is right next to the computer to be set up. That's awesome. It took me 15 minutes to hook up the USB and configure the settings and show them how it worked. We went to lunch and then home. Didn't hear a peep for 6 months. We start getting calls that the scanning isn't working anymore. A couple times bouncing the PC would fix it, but it kept coming back. Nothing has changed, we're told. Bouncing the PC? We took a ride out there, 3 hours away, and when I walked into the building the problem was apparent. The copier was now on the other side of this large room and no longer next to the PC. It was still hooked up via USB. 10-foot USB extension to a 10-foot USB extension times 8, then plugged into the copier. They had almost 90 feet of USB, 1.1 cords, all daisy-chained together. Just a bit outside the max length. Fixed it in the next week by placing a second NIC in the PC and using a crossover cable and some static addresses to connect the copier via Ethernet. Didn't think there was a problem since they all hooked together, I was told. Just because you can is not a confirmation that you should. Yeah, I tried that once on a job site. My job trailer was way too far away from the building that we were remodeling. We were doing partial demolition and then remodeling the building and then building a new hotel next door. So on the new hotel empty lot was where I had my job trailer dropped. Figured, for a few months it would be fine. But all the services came from the main building. And yeah, I daisy-chained a bunch of stuff together outside. I did protect each union, but it didn't matter because it was signal degradation anyway. Then somebody told me I should have one solid cable. Did that and it was okay. I was using like a Cat 5e 100-foot cable, so I didn't need that much. There was some more wire spooled up there, so I cut it to 75 feet, which was still had a little bit of slack so that, if somebody tripped on it, it wouldn't snatch everything apart, but everything ran much better after that with one solid cable at 75 feet, so live and learn. I encountered that guy at my new job within 2 days. Hi all, long-time reader, first-time poster. Even reading this sub for over 6 years didn't put me off finally taking my first step into the IT profession, which I've wanted to for years, after 7 years in the education sector. I don't blame you there, I'd take IT over education any day. A friend made me aware of a fairly lucrative position at a local manufacturing plant, which pays very well for my area and would be a huge step up from what I was doing at a local college, which had elements akin to help desk support, but was explicitly not an IT role. However, I think having worked with a ticketing system and 15 plus years of personal tinkering with computing helped me land the job, and I was thrilled. There are 2 of us in support for over 500 users, so we provide level 1, 2, and 3 support. I really wanted to make a good impression, so I dived into resolving my first ever help desk tickets in my life, with help from my supervisor who was exceptionally helpful, but can have a bit of a temper at times, not towards his staff, but useless users. Day 2 swings around and I'm feeling positive. A new ticket comes in. I've changed the user's name involved to Jeff. Jeff puts in a ticket saying an access database, yes, we use a massive site-wide access database, was throwing an error. I contact him through Teams chat, as most users use that instead of calling. Jeff: Access database has an error. I need this to do my job and report crucial statistics. I'm exceptionally busy. It needs fixing now. Me: Okay, my supervisor has informed me we can resolve this by reinstalling the application. It's a relatively quick fix, but you'll be unable to work for 20 minutes while we configure it on your laptop. 5 minutes pass. Jeff: This is unacceptable. You said it would be fixed in 20 minutes? Me, wondering how 5 minutes now means 20 minutes. Office is just reinstalling, which includes access. As you can see from the progress bar, it's about 33% done. Please bear with it as it completes. Jeff: No, this is unacceptable. Cancel the installation now so I can go back to working. I'll be making a complaint. At this point, I'm terrified. No one treated me like this at my last job. Now someone's making a complaint on my second day in IT. I try to be polite and say I'll leave the ticket open and pending until we get the issue resolved for him. Before I can even walk down the corridor to explain to my supervisor, I hear him speaking with a raised voice on the phone. Supervisor: If the application's so crucial to your job, why won't you let my staff work on resolving it for you? Until you provide us with an hour of your time when we can work on your laptop, the ticket will be on hold. It's now your responsibility to book that time in your calendar for us to complete the work. It has now been 3 months, and Jeff has requested that we take his laptop and install the Office package and configure the database overnight, requiring us to stay after hours. We're salaried 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., which was refused, and after asking when the ticket will be resolved 3 times, to which we responded that it was his responsibility to find the time, as we had tried to accommodate him multiple times and we were told he's too busy. I raised it with my supervisor again. Now I know why he's appreciated. Supervisor: Close the ticket, buddy. I guarantee you when you close it, he'll call again and he'll be denied a final time. The guy is a D-head. I closed the ticket and he called instantly. Got told somewhat politely where to shove it, and next time if he has an urgent job that needs completing to be cooperative. I love having supportive superiors who tell users what's what when they're acting like idiots. Yeah, it's really good to have a boss who's smart enough to know that not everything's the user's fault, not everything's the employee's fault. And it's also nice when your supervisor's not afraid to voice that too. You know, if you goof, he brings it to you, I'm sure. When the users goof or become obstinate some way, then he takes it to them. So, good for him, man. That's a rare find. We all love you anyway, Artie. Keep trucking, buddy. Someone posted a story recently which made me think of this. In a former life, I was frontline support for some proprietary applications. Part of our duties was to make configuration changes for clients, provided they had faxed over a form that detailed the specific changes and authorized us to make them just fill out a form, sign it, and fax it over. Easy. I considered the form at issue in this case to be more or less self-explanatory. However, I didn't count on the man who asked for the changes. This was my first time working with him. We got to know each other pretty well over the next 2 years. I'll call him Artie. Artie was originally from somewhere in either India or the Southern Pacific. I can't remember which one. He had lived in the United States for years, but if anything, his accent had grown stronger over time. He was one of the friendliest, easygoing, compliant people I've ever met. His calls were like your grandpa needed help to play a DVD and would gamely follow whatever instructions you gave, albeit slowly and with a confused air. Anywho, I explained to Artie that I can make the changes he wanted, I just needed him to fax over the form, which he did 6 times. First he sent over a blank copy of the form. Then he sent over a populated form, more or less, but didn't sign it. Then he signed the form but sent it over blank. Then he sent over a white piece of paper. I think he put the paper in his fax machine upside down. He sent over paperwork for a different vendor, which I then had to report to my manager before putting it inside one of our safety shred bins. Then he sent over the populated and signed form, but what he requested didn't match what he said he wanted. After I received each of these, I would call him, explain what I received, and explain how it differed from what I needed. After the 6th attempt, I gave up on Artie, although I'm quite sure he was perfectly willing to try again. So I asked him if there was someone else there who was familiar with faxing, assuring him that I understood perfectly that this was not easy. Technology's hard. No shame here, young man. He chuckled when I called him young man. I think he was well into his 60s, at least. He gave me the phone number of a subordinate of his I'll call Rosario. I called her, and after a quick explanation, she let out a long sigh and said, "Oh, Artie." Anyway, 5 minutes on the phone with her clarified what they wanted, and another 5 minutes later I had a completed and signed form hot off our machine. I supported Artie in some form or another for 2 years before he retired. He was perhaps the most bumbling person I've ever met, also one of the kindest. If I seemed sad or tired, he would ask what's wrong and offer some general advice, which was usually quite sensible and even helpful. Twice, I actually opened up a little to this absurd man. His subordinates were extremely protective of him, although I'm sure they would routinely swap stories of, "You can't believe what he did this time." Many of them had worked for him for years. Anyway, when he retired, his position was taken over by a traditional manager type, and over the next several months, his team gradually moved on. I've worked with some Arties in the past, and heck, I'm pretty sure that I'm kind of an Artie myself. Not as old, but, I still got weird accents and speech patterns and a lot of confusion sometimes. The key, though, with Artie is that he was nice, he was compliant, willing to try things, and do what you asked him to do, even if he couldn't really do it. And I'll take that all day long over somebody who knows what they're doing, sorta, but they're being a real douche. So, yeah, everything in life's a trade-off, My favorite customer. Oh well, I can't test that right now because I'm driving. I'm not at home, so I don't know the serial number. So you just called me to tell me a story? What do you want me to do from here? Because we literally can't do squat if you're not in front of the equipment. For context, I support end users and retailers with hi-fi audio gear. It's not like a computer I can remote access. I need people to push buttons and plug cables in. One guy called me waiting for his wife in the supermarket parking lot to help troubleshoot his media server, which I might add is not even our gear. It's something that interacts with our gear. I guess these people expect me to say, "Oh darn, well, I'll just give you a brand new one because you're so special." My job is very not corporate. Most of what I do is make judgment calls, but I'd rather resolve someone's problem over replacing it because it's simply less paperwork. Even if I wanted to replace it, dude, I need the serial number. So I believe there are some times with certain things where you can talk to somebody, bounce ideas off of them, tell them what you've tried, and they may be able to help you resolve things, but 9 times out of 10 you need to be near your equipment, whether it's stereo equipment, computer equipment, your car, so that you can try things so that this person has a better idea of what's actually going on when you try different things. Listen, if you're going to call for help, at least have the equipment nearby. People too easily forget the fundamentals. Folks, I don't know how much longer I'm welcome here, for I have become manager, destroyer of environments. However, I'll tell you a cautionary tale of how you should never forget the basics of troubleshooting. My company's rolling out a new product right now, and there are some growing pains. Since this is the new shiny, we have way more eyes on issues than we really should. One of my direct reports is in our internal chat doing a deployment and has a device, the new product, that is unable to communicate with the cloud. I go through the basics. What are his IP address settings? What did he configure the host name the device contacts to? What is his DNS? We start breaking further into this Internet of Turds network installed in a vehicle when our Tier 2 customer service manager chimes in, asking the same questions I had just asked in the preceding 10 minutes, all readable in the chat. I tell the CS manager this and he says, "I'm out," and good riddance. My tech finally says, "Well, I can ping the cellular router and ping the Ethernet switch, but I can't ping the new product." So at 12:13 p.m. I say, "I think there's an issue with the cable between the switch and the new product." So now our product engineers get involved and spend the following 2.5 hours circle jerking about regarding IP addresses and host names. My manager finally chimes in at 2:43 p.m., having not paid much attention to this conversation until this time. Check the cable between the new product and the switch, since that sounds like where the break is. Just as I had foretold. Wouldn't you know, the cable's bad. Yeah, I don't care how experienced you are. Most of the time, you need to start with the simple solution first and work your way back from there. I have a light issue on the outside here, the patio light on the outside by the door of the fifth wheel here, and it keeps burning out. So the first problem is, okay, is it just a bad bulb? Put a bulb in, It works, then it burns out again. Okay, now, what's causing it to burn out? Is it shorting out because there's moisture getting in? So I sealed around the light really well and made sure water was shedding off and wasn't collecting in the socket and burning it out. Next is going to be some sort of wiring or fuse issue maybe. Maybe it's got too big a fuse in it and it's burning out lights. Maybe there's something wrong with the converter, but I got to work my way backwards from the light in. You don't start by replacing all your batteries in your converter in your rig just because one bulb keeps burning out. Like, seriously. Fixed it way too fast. So our ticketing system sends a survey upon the tech closing the ticket. Standard customer satisfaction survey. I'm the only person in the office at this time. I see an email hit the tech support inbox and look at it. I don't remember what the issue was, but I instantly knew how to fix it. So I locate the user's PC in our RMM software and have it ready to go. I call the user and, "Hey, it's Brett from tech support. I see you're having an issue with XYZ. "Yes, it just started happening." "No problem, ma'am. May I connect to your system?" "Sure, go right ahead." I connect to her system and resolve the issue in 1 to 2 minutes. Explain what I did and wish her a good day. I then make the ticket, fill out the ticket, and resolve it. The whole thing from the time the email hit my inbox to closing the ticket was 10 minutes. 1 hour later, I get an email from my boss. It contained the screenshot of the survey she filled out, and she gave me 2 out of 5 stars. Said I was too slow. My boss was like, "WTF? You took care of it in 10 minutes. What were you supposed to do, read her mind?" Too slow? Wait a minute. The title said it was too fast. I'm a little confused. But either way, too fast, too slow. Most of these people are calling you because they have no idea what's going on. So how would they know how long something takes to fix? Whether it's going to be slow, fast, or whatever. Seriously, you emailed the problem. You got contacted by the tech. He resolved your problem, closed the ticket. What's the issue? People are stupid. But hey guys, I hope you enjoyed these stories, and if you did, would you consider doing me a favor? Would you please click that like button down below? It really helps the algorithm. Maybe subscribe to the channel, and we're really trying to get to 10,000, and you guys are just pushing right along. I love it. And then don't forget to click that little bell icon so you get notified the next time I upload a video. So long from the fat guy with the beard in northern Florida sweating his butt off. See ya.